everyone, welcome to Eat Something with Dee. Before I get started today, I just want to give a huge shout out to everybody that's come up to me in real life and told me how much you're enjoying these videos and to keep going. And that is so encouraging to me. You guys are giving me life right now, and I really want to thank you all for taking the time to come up and talk to me and tell me that you're really enjoying it. I absolutely love it, and so I'm going to keep going with these videos as long as you'll have me. So today's recipe, I'm kind of excited and kind of nervous to share it with you because it's something that I came up with all by myself. It's just something that I've created and perfected in my own kitchen. And so I call it spaghetti a la Dee. So it's my special spaghetti recipe that I'm going to share with you today. And I'm going to get started right away. I'll show you all the ingredients. We'll get into it. And then I'll tell you the story of how I came up with it and why I came up with it. So let's get going. I've got my ingredients here all set up for you. Let me pull my camera down so you can see. Da, 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 da. And ta-da! Whee! Oh. So, I've got about 2 portions of spaghetti here. This is for 2 people. So 2 portions, I want to say it's about 2 cups. It kind of depends on how much you eat. So 2 portions of cooked spaghetti. What I do in my spaghetti is I salt the water almost like seawater. And so there's more than enough salt in the spaghetti already. What I've got in my special spaghetti recipe is 2 cups of wilted spinach. So now, wilted spinach essentially means that I took like 4 cups of fresh baby spinach and I quickly doused it in boiling water. So you essentially blanch the spinach and then it becomes nice and wilted and ready to go, and it cooks up really fast too. Spinach is one of the easiest things to cook, really. So 2 cups of wilted spinach. I've got 1.5 cups of pureed tomato. You can use whatever tomato you like. People ask me very often what tomato I use. When I was growing up in India, we only had one kind of tomato. So you can use Roma tomatoes, which are good for sauce, or you can just use the tomatoes on the vine, whatever you like. And I've got these little grape tomatoes here, about 12 to 15 of them. And then let's go over here. I've got olive oil and butter because I use a half and half. I love the taste of cooking in butter, and I generally cook in butter, but I'm trying to be a little healthier, so we do half and half of olive oil and butter. I've got about 3 cloves of garlic, just roughly chopped up. And some Parmesan. Again, it depends on how much cheese you want in there. So this is about 2 to 3 tablespoons of Parmesan, grated Parmesan, and then salt to taste. And that's all there really is in this recipe. But we're going to run 2 gases at the same time. So it might get a little complicated. Let's get going, and then we'll decide if this is too complicated. Okay, let me just set you up here. So I've got, you see my empty pan? Okay, maybe I should bring it further down. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna run 2 things at the same time. I've got my little pan over here. Oh, maybe you can't see my little pan, eh? Oh, okay. There we go. You can see both my pans going at the same time now. Perfect. More or less. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. Stay with me. Stay with me. Okay. There, okay, this is a delicate operation. All right, so we're gonna start off with heating up both our pans, obviously. So we got that going and we got this going. Gonna add about 2 tablespoons of olive oil over here and 2 tablespoons of olive oil over here. And then 1 nice big old tablespoon of butter because I love my butter. And another big old tablespoon of butter here. So I said half and half, but we're going to do a 1:2 ratio. My mistake there. And so what we're going to do essentially is we're going to start blistering up our baby grape tomatoes here, and then we're going to cook up a little sauce over here. And you'll see how that comes together really easily and really quickly in just a minute. So we get the butter melting. Melt for me, please. All right. So let's start off with our pureed tomatoes right in there. And let those cook down for a little bit. And then we'll get going with our blistering tomatoes as soon as I get my butter to melt. You know what? Sometimes it's live. What are you gonna do? You just gotta wait it out. So while the butter's heating up, let me tell you a little bit about why and how I came up with this recipe. Essentially, I went and had this fantastic pasta dish at a restaurant close to my house. And the next time I went by, they had taken it off the menu. Why they do that, I don't know, because I would have gone back to that restaurant a million times just for that pasta dish. So I thought back to the time that I had eaten it and what it had in it and how I could achieve that taste. And so I came home and I started experimenting and I started throwing stuff together just to see if I could recreate it. And so this is what I came up with once I sort of had perfected it. So let's see if I can manage to recreate this for you on Facebook Live. Okay, we got the butter melting. That's perfect. And then I just chuck in my little grape tomatoes in there. They've been thoroughly washed. Don't worry about it. And then I need to grab a spoon here. Here we go. No, got a little tongs going. So we've got that blistering. And don't worry about this guy. This guy's going. And we're going to get it to cook down, hopefully, quickly. So when you're blistering these little tomatoes, you don't have to worry too much about keeping them on a low heat. You can go pretty high because you want the skin to literally blister and split. And that happens pretty quickly as long as you can get the heat high enough. Okay. Where am I here? Here we go. Come on. And so this is a bit of a balancing act because you want these tomatoes to cook down and you want these tomatoes to blister up. And there's really not much else to do but wait. So when I was growing up, my mom has this amazing pasta sauce recipe. It's a basic red sauce. It's really, really delicious. And I absolutely love it. And I also love a good Alfredo sauce. So I kind of was stuck between those two kinds of pastas, and I really didn't have any other pasta recipe, and I was getting really bored of it too. So when I came across this at a restaurant, I figured, well, you know, I can kind of cook, so I'm going to try and figure out this recipe all on my own. And so far, so good. No complaints from me anyway, and the few people that I've fed it to. So I'm just going to keep going and show you how this is done. Now our tomatoes over here are blistering up quite nicely. And yes, they do tend to sputter and splatter. So, I mean, I would say wear safety goggles, but you don't need to do that. Just watch yourself, watch them, you know, make sure they don't catch you in the eye, basically. And this guy is happily cooking. Gonna grab my spoon over here. Here we go. Perfect. Let's do this. And all you have to do with this is essentially reduce it. Just let it cook down. And keep an eye on your blistering tomatoes as you do. Blistering tomatoes, that reminds me of Tintin, blistering barnacles. All right, we throw in our garlic. Now I've got a little bit of a simmer going on this side, which is wonderful. And all you're doing is reducing this in a little bit of butter with garlic. That's all you're going to be doing for this side. And these guys are coming along nicely. Take a look, so pretty. One of the reasons I absolutely love this recipe is it's got veggies and spinach and tomatoes, and it's really bright and fresh, and it's not that thick, heavy rosé sauce, and it's not a typical, you know, tomato basil sauce. It's got some veggies in there, and you can like pretend it's healthy even though it's pasta, and you know, ultimately Who are we kidding? Pasta isn't exactly the most healthy thing to be eating on a daily basis. So we've got this going on a nice little boil now, which I really, really love because I can smell the tomato. I'm a huge fan of tomatoes. I like all sorts of tomatoes. Heirloom tomatoes, grape tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, Roma tomatoes. Because like I said, when I was growing up in India, I just knew that there was one kind of tomato. So when I came to Canada and I discovered all these varieties of tomatoes, I was in heaven, you know. So I got all of this going. These are blistering up so beautifully. I'm so proud of that. Oh, yay. Yep, and we got this beautiful rolling boil happening. Notice all the splattering that's happening because I tend to make a mess when I'm cooking because honestly, if you're going to be neat and you're going to try and maintain a perfect kitchen while you're cooking, it's not happening. So, here we go. Blistering, blistering, blistering. Boiling, boiling, boiling. We've got a nice little simmer going here. And now, I'm just going to throw in my 2 cups of wilted spinach. It's already, like I said, been blanched in very hot boiling water. Oh, look at those colors coming together. I love that. And so it's not really going to take too much time to cook. And the flavors in the spinach and the tomato and the garlic really come together really, really well. And it's just fresh and bright, and there's no like overcooking or anything. It just comes together in a little bit of butter, and it's fantastic. These guys are sputtering away. Let me bring them over so you can see. Okay. And now I'm going to dry out a little bit of the tomato juice here, because what I'm going to do, which I failed to mention earlier, is I've got about half a cup of chicken stock here for flavoring. If you want to keep this vegetarian, don't do the chicken stock, do vegetable stock, do water. It doesn't matter. There's enough flavors in these veggies and in the garlic in there and in the butter that you're going to really get a flavorful dish out of this. So about half a cup of chicken stock in there, just to add a little bit of liquid and flavor. Beauty. Beauty, beauty, beauty. We got everything cooking up really, really nicely. Nice. Let my guys go in there. Ooh, it's almost getting to the point where it's burning, so we don't want that. We want them blistered up. Ooh, blistered up and squishy. And I'm just going to turn the heat off on that. Turn the heat off. I feel like the lighting is failing me here. There we go. And this is still sort of boiling and infusing its flavor into the spinach. Put this on the back burner so that it doesn't burn too much. And really, that's all there is to it. This is all you need to make up my spaghetti alla D. Just gonna let this simmer a little bit while I grab a bowl, and we'll be ready to plate very, very soon. Now, as you can see, I really haven't, I haven't been using a very low flame. You can keep this fairly high and cook it up really fast because there's a lot of liquid there. The chances of it burning really quickly aren't very high. So you're okay, and I'm okay because I tend to burn things all the time. So, almost ready to go. Now, I add a little bit of salt in here, but salt is really to taste, and sometimes the butter and the chicken stock and then the salt in your spaghetti might be overpowering. So just make sure you taste it before you throw in your salt. Like I said, I've kind of perfected this recipe and I know exactly how much salt I like. So isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that just the prettiest mix of like reds and greens? It's almost like Christmas. And really, that's all there is to it. You can reduce the heat, let it simmer a bit, let some of the liquid come out, evaporate, come out. And then I just chuck in my blistered tomatoes. Blistered sounds like such a horrible way to describe something you're going to eat, but that is, I believe, the term. So there's your blistered tomatoes in there. Ah, it looks so pretty. Pretty food makes me happy. And that's really it. I reduced my heat so that it wouldn't sort of evaporate too much now because I like a little bit of liquid in there. And the thing is that this is not like watery. This is chicken stock and the juices of the tomatoes. So it's all very flavorful even if it's not too thick. And now we are pretty much ready to go. So I'm going to turn my heat off and I'm going to bring you back over so we can plate. Let's straighten you out a little bit. So very simply, just pile on the spaghetti, however much you want to eat. Like I said, portion size is your choice. I tend to do spaghetti in bowls because I feel like it's easier to eat. When it's on a plate, it kind of just like goes everywhere, and I'm a child and I need a contained environment for my spaghetti. So that's your spaghetti. And then you just bring this over hot, hot, hot from your pan. Pile on some of the yummy, yummy spinach. Pile on some of the beautiful blistered tomatoes. This is one of my favorite super quick pasta dishes. It just makes me so very happy. And it's so easy. It barely takes 10 to 15 minutes when you're doing it. And then, like I said, we've got some Parmesan that we just sprinkle on top. Now, I'm just sprinkling a little bit. In reality, I would probably dump in like 2 or 3 tablespoons because I love cheese. But that's the whole all. That's your wonderful spaghetti a la D. I cannot wait to get this into my face because it's absolutely delicious, really, really quick to make, and you can really kind of experiment with the kind of stock you use or water you use. You can even add other flavors in here, oregano, basil, whatever really takes your fancy. This is kind of a very basic recipe that whoops! Live, my friends! Live! I had a little camera mishap there. Right, so this is a very just basic spaghetti recipe that I came up with, and I hope you come up with your own variations. I just fix my camera here. Right, so I hope you come up with your own variations. Put in some other ingredients, throw in some more flavors. Oh, I also like to crack a little bit of black pepper on mine, so that's always good. And there you go, spaghetti a la D, spaghetti a la me. I hope you really, really enjoyed this recipe because I'm going to enjoy eating it. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.